Welcome to yet another modding tutorial. Today, I will be going over how to upload a package to Thunderstore. To start off with, you will probably want to have this mod installed. You can get it at thunderstore.io/c/inscription or TCG card shop simulator with dashes for spaces /p/core team/example mod. Now to download it, just hit manual download. This will put it into your downloads folder, and then you will want to extract it. You can extract it wherever you want. Personally, I will be calling it after the mod I'm doing the showcase for. For example, Tribal Talents. We'll open a new page, but you can close that and then just go into the folder. Now to actually utilize it, you will want to start with putting your stuff in the folder. For example, if it was anything under BepNX that is not your base plugin, you would put it into BepNX/plugins, patchers, monomod, core, config, cache, etc. For example, if you wanted a modified config, you would just copy that config and then place it into here. Of course, I grabbed the wrong one. I needed this one. You just place it in, and then you're good to go on that part. Now, for your actual plugin, you will want to go and copy this into the folder called plugins. Basically, this will store all of your folders as well as your DLL, and it will stay as a folder because it was put in plugins. If it wasn't, it would just be dumped like spaghetti into a folder. And then once you're done with that, you will want to go and modify these profiles. You can find a nifty little guideline here that goes over everything. Should also be up to date. And it is recommended that you would view this file within a website called markdownlivepreview.com. And then I'd turn this thing scroll off if that's on. And then you can go and scroll through this side, and then it will show you the contents in a nice formatting, even with arrows that you can fold out or fold in, or some extra info. It basically goes over everything that is gone over in this video. Anyways, now you will want to go into your changelog, or whichever file you want to start with. I'm going to start with the changelog. I just realized I did not do that properly. So do a copy paste and fix that. And then since I already have these existing, I'm just going to copy these over. But essentially you would format your thing in however you would like. This is the format that I've gone with for the example, but you can also do something like this for your formatting. Which actually, I think I'm gonna go modify the way that I'm doing this slightly to match with this. It will take me a little bit of time. Alright, now that I've moved over my mod's changelog, I will now add the latest version. Next up, we've got the README, which I'm also gonna do pretty much the same thing for. The installation you will always want to keep around the same for each game that you have, because the one that's based in there is for a specific game, not probably not for the game that you're trying to mod. You can usually get this on your local API's GitHub or your local modding GitHub. Otherwise, you'd have to go write one yourself. And since that is my how to contact me, I shall leave this the same, except I'll remove these since this community does not use those. But I will link to the inscription modding community. Which I can grab by doing that, I believe. Yes. And then for the content, it should pretty much always be based upon your mod's actual contents. And if you need it, there is a README maker available for inscription. You might need to modify it for your purposes, though. It will automatically format things the way that you would prefer it for your changelog. Not your changelog, your README. Now let me go put in my little recommendation section. And also reformat it. So that it actually uses Markdown's link system. What I'm doing right now is basically making some hyperlinks with bullet points. Then once you are done with your README, you want to save that file. And then same thing with your changelog if you never saved it. Next up, we will go over your manifest file, which there is a nifty little feature from linked by the mod that will let you automatically generate these to an extent. So for example, this mod depends on VepNX, the API, and monomod. So you would go to the Thunderstore page for that mod, grab its dependency string, and then paste it into the item for each mod. And then you would probably want to have it in order of the way it should be installed as well. Just in case something like Gale messes with how things are downloaded. Your name should match up with your Thunderstore name if you already have one. If you don't, you will probably need to go make one. Which, since mine is already on Thunderstore, I do need to go grab that. So, mine is tribal underscore pelts. Underscore is just how Thunderstore registers a space. And then for your version number, it should always be following the following. Your major, your minor, and then your patch. The major is basically your massive updates. Your minor is basically the minor updates, like changing a few things, and your patches are bug fixes. And then you would want to link to your website URL. In my case, that would be a GitHub with the source of the mod. And then you will want to give your mod a short description. Basically, a short little preview of your mod. And then once you're done with that, you'll want to just grab it and move it over here. I'd recommend doing a new line just so you can make sure you're not messing anything up from what you originally had, if you had anything there in the first place. And then once you're done, just delete that original bit. Once you're done with that, save it. And then next you're gonna want to have an icon. In my case, I already have one, so I'll be transferring it over by doing a copy paste. But basically, your mod icon should always be a 256 by 256 image, and it should clearly represent what your mod is about and what it contains. In this case, basically it's a tribal pelt mod, as illustrated by the image, showing that the trapper and trader have tribe-based pelts here. And then once you're done with that, clean up your directory. Make sure you don't have a bunch of extra stuff that you don't need. For example, folders you aren't modifying. And also make sure you are deleting the guideline because that is not needed at all. That's only there for your reference. You don't need to include it. And then once you're done with that, hit Control A, right click it, and then compress it to a zip file. And then you can name that file whatever you want. And then you are good with your Thunderstore structure. The next bit is making sure you are logged in or have an account. You can see this if you know this if there is a name that shows up here, or if there is a logout button or settings. Otherwise, it will tell you to sign up with either Discord, GitHub, or Overwolf. And then in order to upload a package, you will need a team. You can do that by hitting teams. And then you hit create team and then enter a name according to the syntax that is shown here. Underscores are replaced with spaces. Actually, with team names, they're not. They'll show up like this. They may not begin or end with it, but they may use it in the middle to separate things. And don't mind the massive amount of teams I have. And then once you are done with that, you will want to hit upload. And then we will drag our zip over into here. You're gonna want to make sure you have everything updated. Just make sure to check your changelog, readme, manifest, icon, etc. Make sure it is correct. And then also, if you care about mod manager support, you should probably go and open up a new profile. And for example, R2 Modband, you can also do this in Thunderstore Gale. Testing 2. You select the profile and then go to settings. And then I believe there should be an import. Yeah, here. Import local mod, select file. And then for me, the zip is in here. Select that. It should show up with some stuff. This clearly shows me that something went wrong by the fact that it's asking about example mod. So we can check that by going into the file, and look at that. I did not update the right file at all. I accidentally updated my original one. So then you will copy paste that into the one shown. It will fix that issue. And this is also why it is important to make sure to check your files to make sure everything is correct. In my case, it was only that one file that messed up. And also, really adding this originally, because it should also be in my range, but I just go back. See? If you mind, let me choice. See that? And then we will want to rezip. So we delete that. And then right click compress to zip file. Tribal pellets. And then I'll append 2.3.0 to this version. Because if you hit cancel, it will request you put in a different file name. Now that is proper. Then if we hit import, it does not grab the dependencies, which is not due to that. I think it's just an issue with Thunderstore in general. But usually it would grab your dependencies. For example, API, and then you will probably need to re-import it since your thing replaces files, but you'll want to start a run first, mainly since, for example, with API, it will replace it on run, same with Bepinex. Basically, your plugin, your configs tend to be generated on run for the first time instead of being checked if one exists and then modifying if needed, like making a new file. Hence the importance of running before doing it. And then now, once you're done with that, exit the game. And then you'll want to import it again. And then you can check if that worked by going to the profile, Bepinex config, then here, then it should show true. Yes, it does. So your config change worked, and like that, you should have a working zip. Not that. And then you're gonna want to now, at this point, go into here, and then drop it into the thing. Select the correct team. In my case, it's called Creator. Communities, make sure it's the correct community. And then if it's an update, your categories will be selected automatically. If it's the first time uploading, you will need to select them all. So for example, mine adds cards, does some miscellaneous stuff. It also tweaks the creator / trapper. It works for Act 1, it works for Casey's mod. And then it counts as none of those other stuff. And then important thing, if your mod contains any NSFW content, you must select this. And then once you're done with that, hit submit. And then if that works, you will see something like this. that should look roughly like what you set up. And then you can also go a bit deeper by going to the actual mod page and seeing if everything is correct. Which this is correct for my case. And then I would also recommend going to your wiki page, creating a new page called installation guide, and then putting in the installation info. And then you can also make some other pages for the rest of your mod's content here. And then source will basically be the first DLL that's in your directory. For example, my only DLL in this is tribal health, so it will show a decompiled version of that via something similar to deinspec. It will not be accurate. Hence why we put our GitHubs in our links. And then your downloads will be here. And then to check your changelog, you hit changelog. For example, this is how it will look now. And then if you wanted to add a donation link or something to your team, hit your team. You can hit members. For members, you can hit add member, but it must be the name that shows up here on their Thunderstore. You can also set up a service account for that team. Not entirely sure how those work. And then donation links can be added by hitting donation link and putting in a valid heaps link here, and then hitting save. And then if you ever need to delete your account, hit delete account. And then same can be done for teams, as long as you don't have packages on there already. You can also leave your own teams too. And then I believe that should be it. Just in case, let me go check here and see if I listed anything else that I neglected to mention. Oh yeah, also if you didn't have the zip thing, you do need an application called WinRAR. And then yeah, that would be it. If you need further info, check the guideline file that was in the example mod that was downloaded.